Welcome to Prague for the final event in the ISU Figure Skating World Championships 2026. The O2 Arena, an incredible venue. It can be configured into 40 plus different layouts, and an ice rink has been inserted for the world's best figure skaters to compete at the 110th World Championships. There you see scenes of the beautiful city of Prague. Prague Castle is the largest ancient castle complex in the world, and a city that has a rich musical heritage with the likes of Dvorak and a strong cafe culture built around conversation. The just perfect setting for the artistry and beauty of the sport of figure skating. I'm Mark Conretti, and I'm joined by the brilliant Tanya Kwiatkowski ahead of the ice dance free dance and the competition that will round out what has been an incredible week is surely set to provide everything you would ever want in an evening's entertainment. How are you feeling, Tanya?
I'm so excited. I can't wait. You know, we watched some of the practices this morning, and that got me even more excited for this event this evening. I mean, we've had great performances from the ladies, the men, the pairs, and the rhythm dance, of course, from the dance, but now the final event of the competition. It's going to be exciting.
It really is, and the World Ice Dance Championship is an illustrious stage. It was 1952 when the first World Ice Dance Championships took place, and not long after that, the Czech team of Eva Romanova and Pavel Roman were four-time winners between 1962 and 1965. So there's an appreciation dating back decades of this ice dance sport in this country. As we see the start order, based on the standings after the rhythm dance, there are so many teams of elite quality caliber, of course, at the World Championships, but what is significant is the proximity of their scores after the first portion of the competition. There is one team that leads the field by some significant margin, and that is the Olympic champions Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Guillaume Césaron. There, the judges on screen. The judges find out 45 minutes before the event starts whether or not they have been drawn to cover the event. The technical panel that you see on the bottom of the graphic, they have been studying the skaters in practices earlier in the week, and they will assign the levels to the likes of the dance spin, the lifts, the step sequence, 1 foot turns, and some important levels will dictate what is to come as Ashley Wagner, alongside Olympic silver medalist Ben Agosto, count us down to seeing the first teams in the opening group. So from 31 teams, we round down now just to 20, with Marie-Jade Loriot and Romain Legac opening this ice dance free dance at the 2026 World Figure Skating Championships.
From the Republic of Korea,
They will be followed by the Korean team of Hannah Lim and Ye Kwan. Onto the ice come the British #2 team of Phoebe Becker and James Hernandez. Next will be the 5-time and reigning German national champions Jennifer Jans van Rensburg and partner Benjamin Stephan. And the highest ranked team, the final to compete in this group, Holly Harris and Jason Chan, representing Australia. And the crowds in Prague have been phenomenally supportive of the athletes, and now this facility, which was built 22 years ago for the World Ice Hockey Championships, is going to be packed. A 20,000 seater arena supporting the sport of ice dance is bound to be a spectacle as we look at Marie-Jade Loriot and Romain Lagac, a team that have had a stellar season. They were so impressive as they debuted their material at the Challenger Series, the Kanoshita Group Cup in Osaka, winning that event, and that was what paved the way for this team to have such success throughout the season, guaranteeing their spot on the Canadian Olympic team. That said, they'll be disappointed to be this low in the standings after the rhythm dance. Their component scores, the second mark, would have had them much higher, but some challenges with the elements. As we look now to Hannah Lim and Ye Kwan, how wonderful that we now get to see this, the free dance, that they were unable to compete at the Olympic Winter Games. And if you haven't seen it, Hannah has written the most beautiful story behind the concept of this free dance. She revealed on her social media that it is a love story of a couple during wartime. And Ye, the man in the couple, receives a letter of a naval enlistment, and they portray the gut-wrenching pain of separation where she begs him to stay, but he is compelled to go to war. It is an incredibly emotional piece, as we see a team who also will have dramatic emotion. Phoebe Becker and James Hernandez, Romeo and Juliet, the first of two Romeo and Juliets to be showcased throughout the course of this event. Oh my goodness. The Germans and the Brits just colliding as ever. Ice dance warm-up is a scary place to be, and now they return to their coach, Nick Buckland and Jana. I think we perhaps need some calmer music for this warm-up to keep things a little more at peace.
This happened yesterday.
Oh, it's always the way.
The rhythm dance as well warm up. There was quite a few collisions or almost collisions.
So true. The ice dancers are also desperately eager to showcase themselves most confidently. And Jennifer Jans van Rensburg and Benjamin Stefan are doing all they can too to move up the standings. They were 17th in the rhythm dance, but wanted to move back inside the top 15, which is their highest placed result from the World Championships back in Saitama, Japan, 2023. As we see Holly Harris and Jason Chan, they will be, I'm sure, satisfied with their standing at present, 16th, which would match their highest result from Worlds. And Holly and Jason just acknowledging after the rhythm dance how delighted they are to hear of other Australian success, with Hannah Bath's silver medal at the Junior Worlds, and they're hoping that Hannah will go on to join them on an Australian team at the Olympic Winter Games, which was a nod to their continued participation in the ice dance event over the course of another Olympic cycle. And Tanya, one of the challenges for the ice dancers, not just navigating this Olympic-sized ice surface, sharing it with 8 other skaters, is the sense of longevity, because for many years it has been decades worth of persistent return to this competition that justifies medals. And so for many of the teams there's a sense of we have to stay in to get the results we eventually want. That said, you might have some standouts like the Emilia Zingis and Vadim Kolesnik, who will be in the last group, but each of the teams trying to do all they can here to push themselves up in the judges' expectations. As we see the Brits and the Germans again having to work through the traffic. I think it's important to acknowledge at the top of this ice dance event how hard it can be sometimes to differentiate the teams, because we have such polished performances and some that can be so vastly different in their interpretation. One thing to try to gauge in terms of what the judges will reward will be the amount of ice coverage. And obviously the camera, for those watching at home, will follow the athletes and we perhaps lose a little sense of perspective. But each stroke that the skaters make, every time their blade leaves the ice, they're aspiring to cover more distance with each stroke, and that will really separate the best. from the rest.
And there's a lot of rules in dance.
There are so many rules in dance. I'll try not to make it sound too complex and confusing, but
I think we're going to have a lot of great performances, most importantly. So we'll focus on the performances.
Amen.
And let the judges and the technical panel worry about the rules.
Completely agree. We can even focus on the costumes because some of them are quite incredible, including those given to the first team. They worked with Philippe Massé at Atelier M Costumes, and one of his clients is Cirque du Soleil, and they've created a very unique approach to their costumes for their free dance as they assume their start position. This team opening with one of their choreographic elements, choreographic assisted jumps. And then choosing a combination lift, rotational lift, and stationary lift with that difficult exit. Creative and difficult way to combine the two twizzles.
Dancers can be so innovative with their lifts and the way that they enter and exit them. I think that's something that stands out for me.
With this team particularly,
this team, for sure.
So much detailing and stylization through this midline step sequence. Romain Legac hugs his wife, Marie-Jeanne Loriot. married for a decade. And what a way to celebrate their love, performing in the first time they've competed at the World Championships in 7 years. And what this team has done with that program particularly is just showcase a complete transformation, the way in which they have taken their style and created a piece that suits them perfectly. This team isn't like what we will see from others yet to come. They're not elegant, they're not long-limbed in their line, but they are so dynamic and so powerful, and the program that has been given to them and the way in which they executed it has helped them to really stand out this season in a way that they haven't in years gone by. And the Moyer family will be elated, who are so largely responsible for the transformation. They've been given a great grounding in Montreal, now training in London, Ontario, with the other branch of the Ice Academy of Montreal. As we see some of their almost split, it's got twist type vibes on the difficult entry into this, their rotational lift, and just the use of the arms and the connection is novel. Here we look though at the 1 foot turn, so the camera staying on the edges will be what the technical panel are scrutinizing too. How clean can these turns be? Because the cleaner the turns, the more chance of high level, and the higher the technical element score.
I thought these twizzles were performed really well. They were well timed and in unison.
As you said on the back of seeing this, their straight line lift, Tonya, uniqueness for sure. And there the choreographic slide movement. There are 3 choreographic elements to be done by all of the teams. They have 7 different types to choose from, as former Olympic champion Scott Moore vibes with them. So just remembering that from the rhythm dance yesterday, that their program component scores would have had them much higher than this 20th place they find themselves in, because they didn't deliver on the tech score as well. However, on this occasion, it seemed solid. It's 111.96. They are the first to compete, and they all seem to accept that score. It's a wonderful program. So much admiration for all of the work that they and the team have done to create this. And talking of wonderful programs, Hannah Lim and Ye Kwan from Korea have a just gut-wrenching concept behind it. As I mentioned in the warm-up, Hannah has written the most eloquently written story about this. The story of a young couple during wartime, he receiving a letter of enlistment, and the pain and the angst they feel as they are separated. Just a little bobble from Ye on the exit twizzle. Hannah writes that she begs Ye's character not to leave, and then the frustration and angst she feels, he feels compelled to go. The connection between their fingertips, such detail. I don't imagine we could see better acting. The emotional commitment to their concepts and their storytelling is so believable. It's just, it moved me to tears. She's moved to tears. Talk about embodiment of character. And in practice this morning, they delivered it with just as much sincerity. And the tears that slide down the cheek of Hannah Lim will perhaps be because they've finally been able to deliver this wonderful piece of choreography that they couldn't do at the games. But they just storytell as well as anyone.
Just so much emotion. I think that from start to finish, that was really intense.
So intense. And you know, it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but for me, I just think it's like award-winning acting capabilities. Really brilliant. If I have to reference then, of course, levels and the technical aspects of the sport, which of course are imperative to acknowledge, they have a 1 foot turns. It's actually coming at a level 4 for Hannah, which is really impressive, but Ye just struggling again a little bit with the twizzles. Here are the turns. So this, a back inside counter. There can't be any deviation of the edge. This was incredible curve lift. And the difficulty has creativity, should be reflected in the judges' creative execution. And so this is where problems may occur for the team on their tech score. It was the Group C feature, the exit twizzle, that dinged them a bit. And just the way in which they interlocked their fingers and their foreheads. And then, the passion is...
This extension is beautiful.
They've used that lift before, and you can see why they would want to use it again, because it forces the judge's hand on those grades of execution. Wow. They don't have what we'll see from others yet to come in regards to skating skills, so their speed and their ice coverage isn't as deep an edge set. And so, as much as it moved them and many to tears, it may stay behind the French-Canadian team, and that it does. 108.99 for Hannah and Ye.
Their total competition score is 178.83
But
points.
thank goodness the world got to see that beautiful free dance at the World Championships.
Se svým volným tancem se vám nyní představí reprezentanti Velké Británie.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing
And now to Phoebe Becker and James Hernandez. Romeo and Juliet, the theme, and this a choice used abundantly throughout the course of the World Ice Dance Championships history, but it seems the perfect vehicle for these two model-like athletes.
They almost immediately start into their 1-foot turns. A couple of strokes, you talk about the power from each stroke. You talked about that on the warm-up, and it's very evident when they start off like that with an element that's not taking extra pushes, using the edges to continue to increase speed.
Households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona. From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life.
Well, you can see what the coaches Nick Buckland and Jana think of the free dance from Phoebe Becker and James Hernandez, their final Romeo and Juliet free dance of the season. And that reaction from Phoebe and James, everything that you would want at the end of what has been a long, arduous, but successful season for the second-ranked GB team. And they, as I said at the top, Tanya, so perfectly suited to the passionate concept of Romeo and Juliet. Just acknowledging that if you're watching the feedback from the technical panel, then there are little yellow lines under the boxes of many of the elements. 4 of their elements, 4 of the 9 are under review. So they're just going to assess whether or not there are any implications of a technical element score review. As the DJ finds some fun for Phoebe. As James heads towards the coaching staff looking elated. They also have an extended left 1-point deduction, which is something that they have suffered from in the past. So the short lifts have to be 8 seconds. And it looks like their straight line lift went over that. So it's a frustrating deduction for the team. And here we look at the 1-foot turns, working through a rocker, a counter, and a bracket and twizzle. There's the rocker, forward inside rocker, staying on 1 foot just for the change of edge. Back 3 turn, and here was it going to be a right forward inside bracket. And they had their 2 side-by-side elements to open the program, with the 1 foot going into this, the twizzles, before then they connected to Storytell through the remainder of the 4 minutes. As Jana Palagueda celebrates. Great to see some of the intricacies of their difficult entry into the stationary lift. And Tanya, this team, their families have given so much to support them. I've just got to acknowledge that their family stole their thunder a little bit, because James's niece Isabel was born just before their Olympic debut on the 2nd of February, and Phoebe's niece Matilda was born on the 3rd of February. So their families and their siblings have been supporting the career of Phoebe and James for years, and they just stole their thunder with new, beautiful babies, 2 new girls. As kisses are sent from coaches and skaters to those that have supported them back home. So they had 106.99 in Milan. And they have higher than that with 107.47. You can see the confirmation of the deduction for the extended lift again. But despite it being a season's best, it sees Phoebe and James just drop below Marie-Jade and Roman, and then Hannah and Ye. But obviously, the team's closely separated. As Vialgluk, the poster for the German champions, and Jennifer Jans van Rensburg and Benjamin Stefan compete in their 4th World Championships. And Jenny, who is roommates with Minerva Fabian Haza, the new world pair champion, hoping to have rubbed off some of that success from their compatriot as they skate to La Maza and Amexa.
Si no creyera en la locura de la garganta del sinsonte, si no creyera que en el monte se esconde el trino y la pavura.
Jennifer and Benjamin also start with their 1-foot turns. Creative changes being slightly different between the 2 of them as they work through the 4 difficult turns.
Si si no creyera en lo que agencia, si no
Such a difficult entry into the straight line lift.
si no creyera en mi sonido, si no creyera en mi silencio, qué cosa fuera la masa sin candela, un amasijo hecho de cuerdas y tendones, un revoltijo de carnes con madera, un instrumento sin mejores pretensiones, de lucecitas montadas para escena. Qué cosa fuera el corazón, qué cosa fuera la masa sin candela.
Such dynamism from Jennifer Jans van Rensburg and partner Benjamin Stefan. And it had similarities to the Canadians that lead to me insofar as their acrobatic and athletic movement was evident throughout, really being creative and interspersing the elements, or indeed using acrobatic within the elements to push both the technical score and the program component score. And before the rhythm dance, Jenny and Benji said that they must skate for themselves. And hopefully the pair are satisfied with what they've done for each other, but also for the many, many Germans that are waving flags around the arena. Hard to compare what we are seeing here with such different stylizations.
Very different interpretations of music, and I think I really enjoyed that performance just because of the athleticism that was in some creative lifts or entries or exits that just were different. They were just really, really fun to watch, and they did them well.
So well, and again, I felt like this in the rhythm dance, that I really enjoy seeing the different choreographic approaches, and for many of the teams, they come from the same school. So for Jenny and Benji, they're the only students of Rastislav Sinitsyn, and so then they come with their own unique approach. It's not maybe as smooth or maybe as polished if I was to have to pick differentiation, but it has more intricacy, like the 1 foot turns, because they weren't choosing to do the same turns at the same time all the time. So it's just a consideration of a different approach, and that has a positive feature of creativity, which is one of the ways in which you can add the grade of execution. The difficult entry when he was in the spread eagle onto the 1 foot here in the straight line lift, in addition to the difficult exit, made that a really plusable element, and referencing plusable because it's the positive grade of execution. A +5 is the maximum point boost a judge can help on any element, and a -5 is hopefully something no one will see, because that would dictate a fall had taken place. As we look back at their synchronized twizzles, of which the synchronization on the slow-mo is very good, as is the passionate interpretation on the slow-mo too. And this couple waited a long time before they could get out to the World Championships, and now 4 years consecutively they've represented Germany, both Europeans and Worlds. 116 is the score that they have had, so it's only a 106.51, but the smiles on the faces of the skaters suggest they skated for themselves, and they did what they wanted by enjoying their participation at the World Championships as they drop down to the 4th of 4 teams. And now to the final team in this opening group, Holly Harris and Jason Chan. Such a long season. And now the final chapter of the 2025-2026 season is ready to take place as they skate to Claire de Lune. Gorgeous free leg extension from Holly in the camel spin. To fight their way through the twizzles. Jason doing really well and powering the speed of the rotational into stationary lift.
his incredible strength at the end of the program to go down like that. The
And-
choreographic spin.
And from the choreo left into the choreo spin.
Yes, that was really well done.
So well done for Holly Harris and Jason Chan representing Australia. As you say, Tanya, the final two elements just difficult, which is important to acknowledge because it's quite easy for, in a choreographic element, it's not difficult to have the element called, it's a fixed value, but then the team's doing all they can to extract more from the judges' grade of execution, and that was a really worthy choreo lift into choreo spin combo for really extracting and pushing the judges to give them a lot back. And for Holly and Jason, the judges' job is so tricky because, again, a completely different approach. It has more similarity to Hannah and Ye, their training mates, and not the same kind of emotion, but equally Claire de Lune is much more gentle, so it doesn't need that intensity. But for Holly and Jason, I do think there was more speed and more ice coverage. And furthermore, this is the second season for Holly and Jason using this program, and it just benefiting from that crisp cleanliness that more run-throughs would give them. Just looking back here, they were a little bit out of sync after the three turn and a little bobble from Holly on the second of the twizzle. So she looks to have dropped at least one level, so the tech score affected there. And now back inside counter, there cannot be any deviation of the edge here. Look, the edge is deep, but it's not about the depth of the edge now. It's all the way through the edge up to the rocker turn itself. It's so important that there's no deviation at any point during the lobe or the curve that they're on, as we see Pascal Denny living the performance.
One way for you guys to close out your season. So, can you give me an Aussie, Aussie, Aussie?
And Holly and Jason will return to Australia after this, and they will have some events there trying to inspire the next generation of Australian skaters. And I think I touched on it in warm-up that they've alluded to being ideally in the team event. Pairs skating in Australia is strong, they're doing well, Hannah Bath doing well, and they needed a male to join them. So hopefully that was alluding to them continuing for another 4 seasons as they await their scores.
The scores, please.
They've had 110.96, but they need 110.55 to maintain their position. It's 108.49. They too have a deduction for a time violation. And Jason just looking around for answers from the coaches as they just dropped one spot. A little unsurprising because Marie-Jade and Roman, the Canadians, would have come into this. They wouldn't have expected to beat them, put it that way. They had a tougher rhythm dance. So just 2 points separate 4 of the teams, indicating the proximity of the quality of the skaters that are in this World Championships 2026. So 25% of the way through the final event at the World Championship 2026, and the drone shot will lead us toward the Japanese champions, Yutana Yoshida and Masaya Morita. After the rhythm dance, they delighted to find themselves in 15th place of the 31 teams that started this event. And the first of 2 Czech teams in this group. The amazing crowd just won't know what to do with themselves with the excitement that is to unfold, having 4 skaters from the host nation on the ice shortly. But interspersing the Czech teams will be Caroline Green and Michael Parsons. The first 3 American ice dance teams in this competition. And now to the younger Czech siblings. Former junior world champions Katarina Mrazkova and Daniel Mrazek. Oh, what that says. Oh. I am so sad that that is confirmation that Yulia Turkia and Matthias Versluis have been forced to withdraw. I'll fill you in on what I found out earlier today, but so sad to hear that a team that are so beautiful to watch are injured and therefore unable to compete. But first, we get to celebrate those that are competing, and that is a celebration from yesterday for Yutano Yoshida and Masaya Morita. They finally surpassed the 70-point marker in their rhythm dance, and that has been a significant milestone for the Japanese team that they wanted to achieve for a long time, and they did that significantly and confidently. And I sense they feel that that could be a doorway to greater things to come for a team in their second World Championships. I wonder if Kaori Sakamoto from Japan is here somewhere supporting them. As we look ahead now to Natalie Tashlerova and Philip Tashler. And I'm sure Natalie would be happy for me to acknowledge the wonderful work that she is doing off the ice to be an ambassador for speaking up. And the way that Amber Glenn perhaps does, Natalie has been an advocate for speaking up about the unspoken things. And she explained that she has suffered with an eating disorder for 5 years, which is a painfully common illness in sport. But she also acknowledges the online trolling and hate that she has encountered. And she said, rightly so, that that must stop. And she has everybody behind her in that mission statement. As we look ahead now to Caroline Green and Michael Parsons, they had some twizzle issues in the rhythm dance, which is why they find themselves lower down the standings. But they are passionately committed to this very creative free dance, and so much so that they are committed to the hair, because Caroline Green, she weaves into her hair individual embellishment with a crochet hook. So be appreciative of people, of the commitment these skaters and athletes go to give us the storytelling that's about to unfold. As we look to Katerina Mrazkova and Daniel Mrazek, and they have their own stylization that they enjoy showcasing, and the skirt of Katerina is something that akin to what they used en route to that junior world title in 2023, and she will use it brilliantly throughout the course of their free dance. And she's had even more success than the wondrous Madison Chalk with hers. Anybody that watched Glitter and Gold will know that costumes can be problematic. So I have to now just explain, Tanya, about what happened. Yulia Turkia, one half of the Finnish ice dance team that have been forced to withdraw, practiced alone this morning on the practice ice. Matthias Versluis has been struggling with injury, and they battled through to get to the Olympics. I haven't heard confirmation, but I assume Matthias's injury is the reason that they've been forced to withdraw. What I can tell you, though, is that when Yulia Turkia skated on the practice this morning, she was solo, and she was beyond stunning. And she actually showcased some of the best solo female ice dancing that the world has seen. Shailene Bourne is renowned for kind of pioneering amazing ice dance as a solo woman, and Yulia Turkia earlier today was just gobsmackingly sensational. So I'm gutted that they can't compete, but we wish them all our very best. It does, however, make it a little bit safer out there now. Only 4 teams, not 5. We will see again a broad spectrum of different interpretations, from Malagena to Matrix. And there, Natalie just explaining yesterday that the work she's doing in speaking up online has garnered so much respect from the other women in the field. And when she acknowledged that the online trolling and body shaming that she has unfairly been directed at, or from others, every other woman in this ice dance event took to commenting and supporting her. And I think everybody in the ice dance community is grateful for her speaking up. Yutana Yoshida and Masaya Morita are already pacing as Kathy Reed does all she can to support them from afar with Scott Moyer. The Japanese team started this Olympic season with a different free dance, but electing to return to their Rise of the Phoenix by Jennifer Thomas, and it has served them so well before a great piece of music. And skaters that come into this free dance feeling more buoyed and confident than ever following yesterday's rhythm dance result. Superbly well matched in every free leg extension during this circular step sequence.
Again, loving the creativity on its stationary lift.
They have saved their 3 choreographic elements to close the program. This, the choreographic steps. Yutana Yoshida and Masaya Morita from Japan skate a clean free dance. A great performance from the young Japanese team who failed to qualify for the free dance last year in Boston. So already celebration has been achieved for them in Prague. And as I mentioned during the step sequence, this couple, so well matched, such a perfect matching at present. Their extension, their line, so on point together. They don't yet have the same range of length of stride as some of the others. Some of the extensions are a little bit shorter. And so what's positive about that is that they're going to stride together moving forward. And the incredible coaches they have know exactly what to do to help them make that jump in the standings. I think that their program component scores will make it tricky for them to stay ahead of those that we have seen thus far. But hopefully they move away from this event so buoyed by what happened in the rhythm dance that it serves them for next season.
Well, to be able to qualify for the free dance and to skate in this arena for this final part of the competition is huge for them. So already, so many positives for this end of the season.
Completely.
And they're only going to keep growing the longer they skate together. So there's a lot of growth to happen. It's going to be really fun to watch.
Yes. Yes, indeed, and they will have then had that extra experience of now what differentiates them from some of the others as we look at their 1 foot turns. And you can see just not quite maximizing the leg extension the way we might have seen from others, or there's a little change of edge there on the forward inside counter, rocking over to outside.
Strong on the twizzles.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hyper nitpicking, but the free leg extension just wavering a little bit, and that's, you know, only because we will have to nitpick at the World Championships to differentiate these brilliant teams. But I have no question that for Yutana and Masai, with Kathy Reed and Scott Moyer and Madison Hubble and Edwin Diaz, they have such a great coaching staff that I can't wait to see then the development that will be made by this team next season. The coaches know what's necessary technically, and now the confidence for them emotionally and humanely from this will allow them to take on board that information and process it with more self-belief, I hope. See, Kathy and Scott know that's good. They'll know that the score will be what the score will be. And referencing the scores, they actually come into this free dance with the lowest score PB from the others that have already gone, so they will know themselves that it'll be hard to stay above what has gone, as they have 101.16, and therefore confirmation that it was 6th in the free dance and 6th overall. But no sad faces there. And let's look forward to seeing Yoshida and Morita next season, as we now look forward to seeing the first of the 2 Czech teams. Natalie Taschlerova and Philip Taschler. And in the practice this morning, they had to request that the music player up the volume, and that was in practice. The audience was pretty big in practice, but they're going to have this music blasted, because I'm sure the audience will go wild. The music from Matrix and Matrix Reloaded, the coaches Maurizio Margalio and Neil Brown.
I created the Matrix.
Coming into their 1-foot turns, look out for some creativity and difficulty in the way they interpret it. So difficult. As too is the difficult entry into the twizzles. Philip struggling.
Off timing on that second set of twizzles.
Oh no, oh my goodness, nightmare. The lift goes down. Wasn't in the air for 3 seconds at least. So I don't think they'll get any value. That is hugely costly. They attach that over, attach their siblings, complete their free dance, and it looked like Philip was still able to enjoy the moment, but I think Natalie just so mindful of the mistake on what was to be a straight line lift. The audience here perhaps don't quite know the significance of what that will do to them. To be callable as a lift, the lifted partner needs to be off the ice for 3 seconds. And the problem is the technical panel have reviewed it and they can't give anything. So only 8 elements rather than the 9 that they intended. And a level 4 straight line lift, which they have done. It's a great lift. What you didn't get to see is actually a really cool lift. And it's dependent on what grade of execution they would have received, about 6.5, 7 points, just wiped off their score. And now the consequence of that is what it means potentially to them next year, because they and the Mrazeks need to have less than 20 or 28 or less placement to be able to have 2 teams in Tampere, Finland next year. So a gutting lack of 3 seconds.
And it seemed like the program was progressing really well. I mean, I thought they looked sharper than Europeans for sure. I mean, I thought the program really has grown.
And they,
such a shame.
Yeah, they have so much speed and power, a different level of skating skill. Here, the curve lifts, and this was a wee bit sticky as well. So the second half of the curve lift just had a little wobble. That's good left forward outside rocker on the 1-foot turns. Oh, I forgot as well, they had a wobble on the twizzles too. this is going to be far from the dreamy score that they were hoping for in their home World Championships. And they said that this is it. So, oh, wow. I need to look at it again to see what happened, but that had a cataclysmically bad repercussions for Natalie and Philip, sadly. But this team has spoken about how this is a rebuilding season. They've changed, relocating to Finland with Mauri and Neil, and their dad, a picture of their father, I think, who they lost, sadly. And for poor Mauri and Neil, their other team, the Finnish team, have been forced to withdraw. Their other Finnish team didn't make the cut for the free dance, and they're great coaches. This is no reflection of them. It's just some bad juju at the moment that they have to come back from. But certainly, knowing Maurizio and Neil, they are so supportive and behind their athletes that they'll manage to resurrect them from the frustration of a 97.58. That is 22 points lower, and the crowd booing at the O2 Arena in Prague because they will struggle to consider what is hard for the naked eye to spot, but has to be done by the rules that are given. Wow. The drama is real in the O2 Arena in the free dance event as we look ahead now to Caroline Green and Michael Parsons. This free dance, so much contemporary brilliance to it. And the concept that Caroline plays the role of goddess Psyche and Michael is playing the role of Aphrodite's son Eros, a story of envy, betrayal, and love. Much better twizzles than the rhythm dance. Greg Zerlin looks on, applauding Caroline Green and Michael Parsons. There's the individually crocheted on hair attachments. She's even got 3D printed costume aspects, such as their commitment to this concept as Caroline inhabits the goddess psyche. A clean skate for this American team. They'll be relieved to have managed to get through, having had a struggle through the rhythm dance and the twizzles. And now, have they done enough to cement in the judges' minds that this is worthy of going higher in the components and the grade of executions compared to those that are yet to come? They have to make a bold statement if they're to move up, because of course they want to be considered back within the top 6 type caliber that they were in 2023. I think the choreography has some masterful points, and the balance points on the curve lift and the straight line lift particularly difficult, but well done. Just now, in a competition so closely contested, the technical element score will be seismic in the outcome, and for Caroline and Michael, the panel have deemed her only worthy of a level 1 on the step sequence, so not considering there were enough difficulty done turns. As we look at this turn here, is going to be a forward rocker. It has to be immediate edge set, so as soon as they turn, it has to be immediately clean. That one is just a back 3 turn. This is a bracket. You can see Caroline's blade just changing before she turns. It's so difficult to do, especially because the teams want to cover the ice with speed, and speed makes the change of edge more likely as they look a teeny weeny bit out of sync on the first twizzle. Here we see both parts of the curve lift, 2 curve lifts, part of a combo, and there the straight line lift. What a shot that is. And the criteria from the judges, one of them is body lines and pose of the partners aesthetically pleasing. That is certainly a spectacular position.
On both of those lifts, actually, the curve lift and the straight line lift.
Yeah. So Caroline essentially became a goddess over the last 4 minutes. Is it goddess-worthy scores? Najad and Roman are now usurped. They have 113.56. As a score, the rhythm dance has impacted that a little bit. So although they lead, maybe not as significantly as they would like. A great team, great people. Well, at the games, it was this Czech team that struggled a little more than the Tashlers, but now Katarina Mrazkova and Daniel Mrazek have the responsibility of delighting this audience with a clean skate and a solid score, which is necessary for them and the nation as they skate to Malgena. Opening choreographic spinning movement is spectacular. Just a magnificent way to start. difficulty through their 1-foot turns, really pushing themselves. Risky to leave the Twizzlers late, but so well done. Fierce expression.
He was so bold and sharp from start to finish.
That was amazing. Coaches Matteo and Barbara look delighted. And this team, they were World Junior Champions 3 years ago, and en route, I think they had the world record for junior world record, they certainly did. And then their junior ranks, they were blowing everybody else away. This performance in their third senior world championships feels to me like a massive statement for the next Olympic cycle. Because that...
I completely agree.
That was, as you say, Tonya, so bold and sharp, but backed up with an underbelly of great speed. And so the skating skills will have to be rewarded. And the sharpness and the boldness that you see, I feel, has to be elevated by 20,000 people that were clapping along for the last 4 minutes.
Well, and they've displayed so much speed and power in their rhythm dance as well.
Yes.
I mean, that's just how they attack everything they do.
And at the top of this broadcast, I was referencing what will differentiate the teams, and it's the length of stride with each stroke. And they really do get down on their knees and ankles and elongate each push to facilitate more ice coverage. And that's what served them so well in juniors. And they've been 12th and 13th at Senior Worlds. Those are no mean results, but this could help see them go towards the top 10. Wonderful. And just what the audience here needed after the disappointment of their compatriots, the Tashlers. And this was the choreographic spinning movement that opened the program. And
So creative.
And difficult. And we can see the skirt impacted Daniel there, but this is a position and a rotation lift we've seen. We see it from Marjorie. Zachary, the Canadians, it's commonly used, but they were pushing the ice coverage. And here, the 1 foot, that rocker, I would have given that rocker for Katarina. And they did a little loop jump in the middle. Their 1 foot turn element wasn't just the 4 difficult turns, it was intricately enhanced by their choice of transitional content. Maybe Matteo Zani just saying, okay, but stay calm, let's not get too carried away with the sound of the O2 Arena supporting them. And I use the word fierce, like that's a scary, fierce face. But now she's giving her brother a hug, so it's all okay. And
looking at all the GOEs too, all positive GOEs, which
amazing.
They should have.
For sure, and when asked how Katarina felt seeing all the Czech flags, she said that she's short-sighted and she usually wears glasses, but contacts don't work for her, so couldn't see the flags, but she can hear the support that they have had as she waits for Matteo to grab her hand. So it's 113.43. It's behind Marie-Jeanne and Roman on the free dance, but by 0.2 of a point. They lead. And now that's significant because 16 points is what the Tasters would have had with their result. This will be, with the withdrawal of the Finns, enough for Czechia to have 2 ice dance teams at next year's World Championships. Well, that concludes the first 2 groups. Yet again, our deepest commiserations and condolences to Matthias Verschluss, whose back injury prevents he and his ever so elegant partner Yulia Tequila from competing. We send all our love to them. But ice resurface now. The final 2 groups on the final day of competition at the 2026 World Championships will be coming up in about 15 minutes. Don't go away.
Ale vy samozřejmě neodcházíte daleko, zůstaňte po svých sedadel, za chvilku budeme pokračovat dalšími 2 úžasnými rozjížďkami plné šampionů, olympijských šampionů a dnes večer, právě dnes večer budeme korunovat nové mistry.
exit check in. Feel free. Pour ma beauté, je fais confiance à mon esthéticienne. Avec ses soins de beauté professionnels, ma peau est plus belle, mon visage paraît plus jeune et éclatant de beauté. Dans les instituts de beauté, Guino et Maricorps. Pour ma beauté, je fais confiance à mon esthéticienne. Avec ses soins de beauté professionnels, ma peau est plus belle, mon visage paraît plus jeune et éclatant de beauté. Dans les instituts de beauté, Guino et Maricorps.
Vážené dámy, vážení pánové, všichni dobře víme, že takový podnik jako mistrovství světa v Praze není možné uspořádat jen tak a hlavně není možné ho uspořádat bez těch neviditelných pomocníků, kteří vás zachrání, kdykoliv jste v nouzi, a jsou to naši dobrovolníci. A dnes je třeba jednoho z těch nejlepších ocenit. Ladies and gentlemen, now's the time of the day when we appreciate the invisible help of people who are making these World Championships, especially the one in Prague, possible. Without volunteers, believe me, the experience would be much different. And today, we're going to award the volunteer of the day to... Dnes udělujeme volunteera dne naší skvělé dobrovolnice, která přiletěla až z daleké Francie. Today we're awarding a volunteer who came here all the way from France. And I would like to ask you to put your hands together for Françoise Desmager. Dámy a pánové, tleskejte. Možná nevíte, ale Françoise, když se potkali na letišti při cestě na halu. Françoise was helpful in the transportation from the airport between the airport and arena. You might not even know, but she is the one who made your way easier so you can cheer for the best World Championships in the history of this sport. Would you like to say something to Prague, Françoise?
Just it was really fun to be here. We had some
Thank you for the kind words. A toto poděkování samozřejmě nepatří jenom Francua samotné, ale patří všem dobrovolníkům. Our gratitude goes to all the volunteers around the arena, all the volunteers at the airport. Thank you very much to all the volunteers who took part in World Championships 2026 in Prague. Thank you. Dámy a pánové, neodcházejte, zůstaňte si na svých sedadlech, je čas, abychom se bavili. Ladies and gentlemen, don't leave your seat because now it's time to entertain you. Watch the Jumbotron cartoon camp starts now. Dámy a pánové, děkujeme, že se bavíte s námi, děkujeme, že spolupracujete, děkujeme, že žijete krásnou poslední. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being part of this wonderful experience and entertainment here in O2 Radio in Prague. But if you would like to take a bigger part of the experience, if you would like to make it all the way up to the wall, then take part of the social wall. Hashtag World Figure. Dámy a pánové, kdybyste se chtěli zapojit do mistrovství světa ještě ve větším stylu, využijte sociálních sítí a nezapomeňte uvést hashtag World Figure a můžete se objevit právě tamto na největší obrazovce celé republice. Nestejte se, přidávejte příspěvky, sdílejte, radujte se a za chvilku budeme pokračovat. Don't be shy, take pictures, share your pictures, share your experience, and be part of the ISU World Championships 2026 in Prague.
Snapchat, Instagram, Snapchat, Instagram, Snapchat, Instagram, Snapchat, Instagram,
Krasoproslení samozřejmě znamená emoce. Emoce vidíme tady, vidíme na sociálních sítích. Sdílejte emoce s námi, my si toho všímáme a samozřejmě naše kamery si najdou i ty vaše emoce. Ladies and gentlemen, figure skating is personalization of emotion in sport. We see your emotion, we notice your emotion, and now our camera will look in front of yours. pánové, pokud jste s námi už od středy, tak dobře víte, o čem se budeme bavit. Vy to víte, ale my to stejně upřesníme. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're with us from the beginning, from Wednesday on, you know very well what we are going to discuss, but we will remind you anyway.
So, for everyone who is certain, stay along for the ride, but if you are new here, you sit down in the kiss and cry, you get the scores, it's your dream score, it's a personal best. Tom, we did it! We did it! Okay, you know what? We're leaders right now. We have to go this way. Come on, up, up, up. So we're gonna walk right on over here. A little journey. And we're headed over to the leaders' chairs.
Dámy a pánové, pokud opravdu chcete světový výkon, tak si po těch známkách zasloužíte odpočinout si na těchto pohodlných sedačkách pro lídry soutěže a budete tam sedět tak dlouho, dokud nepřijde někdo lepší, než jste vy.
We didn't have the leaders' chairs when we were competing, and the gravity of these chairs, everyone's sitting up so bad, but no, we didn't earn it. You have to earn the leaders' chair. You have to finish off top spot of the night. The leaders' chair is where the champions of this event may be made. You're in the top spot, and you are going to sit down and wait and watch the competition until you get to go.
Ta křesla jsou samozřejmě obrovsky lákavá, i Ashley a já bychom se rádi poslouchali, ale ne, my jsme se tu čest nezasloužili. Ta patří těm nejlepší z nejlepších. Na sedadla mohou usednout jenom ti, kteří jsou zatím ve vedení celé soutěže.
Now, we aren't the leaders, but we do have the current leaders in the building, so you need to do the honors. Lead the way.
Dámy a pánové, připravte se ruce. Prosím, potlesk o vedoucí pár této soutěže Daniel a Kateřina Mrázkovi. Vzkázat domácímu publiku.
Já jsem to nečekal, takovouhle atmosféru. V pátek jste mi všichni vyrazili den, jak jste strašně fandili. A dneska, protože ta volna, je to válčí a špatně se na to tleská, já jsem to nečekal. Sakra, vy jste tleskali celou dobu a za mě se to jelo tak dobře. Já prostě miluju bruslení a když vás to tak baví, tak to miluji ještě víc.
Děkujeme, Dané. Kačko, chtěla bys si to něco dodat. Takhle se ti dobře jezdilo dneska.
Bylo to vynikající, ten program jsme si moc užili. Děkujeme vám všem!
Děkujeme vám, Kateřino, Dané. Děkujeme vám, seďte na křeslech, dokud je někdo lepší. You can remain seated until we start the next segment of the competition. And we are almost about to start. Ladies and gentlemen, please get ready for the last two groups of the ISU World Championship 2020.
The final ice resurfacing at the competitive end of the World Figure Skating Championships 2026 is done. The stage is set. There are 10 more ice stands to compete. And within the next hour and a half, we will know who will be the new ice dance world champions. And opening this group, the Georgians, Diana Davis and Gleb Schmolkin. And then to the Lithuanian team of Alison Reed and Saulius Ambrulevičius. And then to the second of three Canadian teams competing here, Marjorie Lejoie and Zachary Lagat.
From the United States of America, Christina Cabrera and Anthony Ponomarenko.
Before the second of the 3 American ice dance teams competing in this, the 110th World Figure Skating Championships, Christina Carrera and Anthony Ponomarenko.
From Spain, Olivia Scott and Tim G.
And the final team, we've just seen her mother on the Jumbotron during the break, Olivia Smart and Tim Deek. And they will be delivering their Dune Mark II free dance. Such a special piece. So we see less than 2 points between Diana and Gleb and the final team to compete in this group, Olivia and Tim. And watching the practice earlier today, it's so hard to differentiate these teams. All of the teams on the ice currently have the same coaching staff. So they're given the same information. Who will be able to thrive and shine as we look to Diana Davis and Gleb Schmalkin. And such an inspiring story upon hearing from Diana that she actually has a sensory neural hearing loss of a grade 3, and since the age of 2, due to a medical error, it has really affected her ability to hear and even her speech. And she explained that to her followers and how that has in turn affected her life, of course, and it only serves to reaffirm how amazing it is then that she has made world-class skating a possibility. It also confirms the incredible relationship she has with her partner and husband in helping her to navigate that condition. As we see on screen now, Alison Reed and Stelios Ambrolevicius. And talking about the partnership between these two, Alison entered the partnership with Olympic experience already, and when she first saw Saul, she a little discounted him, admittedly, but she, as proud as anyone of the work he's done, and she joked that, she joked that now he can outskate her on occasion. They have forged such a brilliant partnership. And there, Marjorie Lejoie and Zachary Lagarde returning to their Nureyev free dance, which just showcases so many of their wonderful aspects, real brilliance in skating skill and quality. And the good news for fans of Marjorie and Zach is that after the Olympics, they were asked about their experience, and Marjorie was able to say how much she enjoyed seeing different sports, but Zachary returned to university, and he said he wished he'd stayed in Milan, and said he'd learned his lesson for next time, inferring that we will be treated to their brilliance for another 4 years. As we look to another team that had to work so hard to become Olympians, Christina Carrera and Anthony Ponomarenko. And Christina, born in Montreal, Canadian citizen. My understanding is that Christina had to drive back and forth across the border daily in order to finally be worthy of achieving the US citizenship, and it came through so late in November. And since then, they are free now to train without the pressure of trying to get 2 passports to become Olympians. And even more fascinating, Christina was born with 2 dislocated hips, and her family was told that she would never play sport. And now, she's an Olympian. As we look ahead to another team that have gone through so much to become Olympians together, both Olympians with their former partners. And just as a confirmation of the amount of sacrifice and commitment and turmoil that teams have to go to be here, Olivia from the UK, Tim from Germany, both representing Spain. The ability to find a partner that matches you with your desires and passions and goals, so challenging, and they're so grateful to the Spanish Federation and the Spanish country for embracing them. And we have to be grateful to the Spanish Federation and country too, because their free dance is just amazing. And even this morning in practice, I was trying to be very objective and trying to differentiate the teams, but there's something very special about their material this year, which has continued as a upgrade to Dune Mark 1, which they performed last year, which got them the World Bronze Small Medal in the free dance portion of the ice dance event in Boston 12 months ago. And so I promise, we don't have to wait to see what happens. I promise you, we will be treated to superb skating, intense, emotional arrays of storytelling, and creativity in the delivery. Again, who creates the most ice coverage, who has the greatest basic skating skill, who is the deepest into their knees and ankles when they stroke, and then who can deliver the most musical performance ability. Judges have clear criteria. They're looking for smoothness, effortlessness, aesthetically pleasing lines, but also innovation and creativity. And as I mentioned, all of these teams train under the same Ice Academy Montreal umbrella, some in Montreal, some in London, Ontario, but they're all given access to the same level of input and information. Who will thrive with the training regime that they have all enjoyed throughout this Olympic year. As Diana Davis and Gleb Schmalkin from Georgia open the group, and this free dance, a departure for them this season, but such a wonderful one. The music, A Taste of Elegance, the track title, and they embody that in the class that they show over the course of the next 4 minutes. Choreographic hydroglide movement to open the program. Gorgeous exit from the synchronized twizzles. mind-boggling curve lift balance point. Well, some programs just click, and that free dance for Diana Davis and Gleb Schmalkin has totally served them. Taste of elegance, something that all ice dancers want to be described as elegant, and they personify it with that performance. And a couple of the elements are real standout features. The curve lift, the angle that you may be watching it from might not be able to fully appreciate its difficulty, but it is delivered with such impressive ease. And then the choreographic sliding movement that concluded the program, just truly special. And now it is all down to the judges, because this is a standalone piece, would entertain any lover of dance or art. But now the judges and the technical panel have to put numbers beside what was artistic beauty. It's a challenging job, and certainly they have so much to be proud of with what they have done this season.
That was good. Very good.
We might get the chance to look back at some of the elements, and it will be the turns again, the 1 foot turns, the step sequence, and they are the two elements that are the hardest to achieve the high level on. As we look at this choreographic hydroglide movement, and there, one of the difficult turns in this 1 foot turns. Here they hold the back edge, and it just looked glorious to push the grade of execution, but it's, it cut away. It was the bracket that was going to decide the level. But essentially, what we did see on camera with the sustained position, that is confirmation that you were losing the technical elements amidst elegant class. What it is.
This is what you were talking about. It's so difficult to be on the 1 foot, the balance point, while he's holding her in the air.
And he doesn't need to go on 1 foot, Tanya, because he would get the level by staying on 2. It wouldn't. It's just pushing boundaries and pushing the difficulty for those higher grades of execution. And it seems almost cruel that a team that has worked so hard over the course of the last year and improved so much with this material, that they find themselves in 10th place after the rhythm dance, and they were 10th a year ago. But it's just kind of confirmation that there are just so many good teams. And as I say, when you're all taught by the same people, you're all getting the same information. It's hard to separate as the crowd get to see the leaders, but I don't think the Mrazek siblings will be there for long when we hear the score of Diana and Gleb from Georgia. It's 119.31. Not a personal best for the Georgians, but solid nevertheless. They would have loved to see a total score over 200 points, I'm sure. But after the busiest of schedules, they have some reprieve. As we move on to Alison Reed and Sarlios Ambrulevicius, the music for this free dance, God is a DJ, by Faithless and We Come One. And they want to invite the audience into their church of sorts on the ice, where they say connection and dance unite us all.
This is my church. This is where I heal my hurts. It's in natural grace, or watching young life shape. It's in minor keys, solutions and remedies. Enemies becoming friends when bitterness ends. This is my church. This is my church.
Working the 1-foot turns, rocker, then counter, racket, concluding with the twizzle.
This is my church. This is where I heal my hurts. This is my church. This is where I heal my hurts.
All subtle flavors of my life have become bitter seeds and poison leaves without you. You represent what's true. I drank the color from the sky and turned blue without you. These arms lack a purpose, flapping like a hummingbird. I'm nervous cause I'm the left eye, you're the right. Would it not be madness to fight? We come one.
Oh, so perfectly matched. This is their choreo spin movement. Coach Stephanie moved to tears. Alison Reed and Salias Ambrolevicius, they invited us to their church in an ice rink, and I'd be a member of that congregation happily. And I've remarked upon the teams that we're enjoying having the same coaches, but they all, of course, have different thematic choices, and Alison and Saul responsible for bringing this music to their choreographers, and they've chosen something that sets them apart in a unique, different way. And that skate was a delivery of a great program done so well.
Well, and I think having different music, it kind of makes you stand out a little bit.
Yes.
As long as you can do unique movements to match that music, and they've totally achieved that.
And also unique movement, because God is a DJ faithless. That's not common ice dance music generally, but they justify the choice by doing what the judges require. Judges require, how does the skater interpret the music? Not how much do I like the music, or how much does it normally work in an ice rink? How well do they interpret it appropriately? And interestingly, we should have an audience barometer for what 20,000 people consider, because as a little flower girl takes a tumble before them, both in practice this morning and here now, the audience really gets behind Alison and Saul. I get a little bit scared when I see these kind of long applauses, because I don't know what the future holds for Alison and Saul, but they're taking their time off. And rightly so, they are fully deserving of lapping up the applause from the audience. I don't know what is in their future, but what a great performance for the team as they move from the stationary lift into this, the rotational lift. And here, that's the forward rocker trying to settle into the deep knee and ankle immediately after the apex of the turn there. The counter, back inside counter, forward inside bracket just there. And doesn't look like much, but those names of the turns are very critical in the result here of this competition. 3 members of the technical panel deciding how well they're executed. As we see, straight line lift. Alison saying in the post-skate interview that they wanted everyone to dance and unite with them, and they felt it. And here, the match in their bodyline extension on the leg feature, so good. Yeah. What a wonderful year it's been. Remember, last year they had a nightmare rhythm dance and failed to qualify for the Olympic Games, so their season has been extraordinarily long because they had to go to the Olympic qualifier. As we see, Alison's brother Chris Reed on the photograph. So they had to be prepared mega early, earlier than their other training mates at the Ice Academy in Montreal. And so their season is now finally over. How will it be rewarded with this performance? I think so, just saying scores don't matter. Oh, 121 exactly, and they go over 200 points. The first of the teams to do that. I don't know if that might be the last time that we see them. I'm just seeing emotion that perhaps suggests that. And if that is the case, nothing but mega gratitude to those wonderful skaters. And now to the Canadian team of Marjorie Lesoir and Zachary Lagat. Such good quality skaters, and this another wonderful piece of choreography. The former world junior champion skate to Nuriev from the White Crow.
So close together on that first set of twizzles.
On the speed of the rotation of the twizzles, then counterbalance with that lovely sustained extension. quite stunning. Marjorie Lajoie and Zachary Lagarde returning to a free dance that they have used in previous World Championships, but even more class and quality to their skating now. And the music Nuria from the White Crow has been used regularly in the sport of figure skating, a homage to the great ballet dancer Nureyev. And when you watch Marjorie and Zachary, you could have some of Nureyev, you could have some of the world's best ballet dancers watch that, and I'm sure be appreciative of their caliber of excellence. And to me, this a much better vehicle for the team than the rhythm dance. And it's really hard to differentiate the teams, but that's the best skating skills that we have seen thus far. Gorgeous. And having seen Alison and Saul and worrying that they looked like retirement bows, delighted to reiterate again that Marjorie and Zachary have intimated that they will continue. And so many people, they were tipped by many to be medalists in 2026. It hasn't come to fruition in this Olympic cycle, but what they have just showcased in this choreographic spinning movement we're watching now really showcases the quality that would make that statement a far cry to say that they'll be Olympic medalists in 2030. That was gorgeous, the level of extension out of the twizzles. And here the rocker turn. And it's hard to gauge, but there is a deeper range in their knee and their ankle than the leaders thus far. More length of leg extension there, and that right back outside edge as we see the difficult entry into their curve lift. Just brilliant. And Zachary is an incredibly accomplished pianist. Marjorie, a great performer off the ice too, but it's so good to know that they stay united on this common goal of continuing to pursue being the top ice dancers in the world. So I've just seen that their twizzles have been given a level 2 for each, and that will be somewhat costly. I've just raved about it, and yet the technical panel do not deem that to have had the quality and the element score as those that have gone before them. So Marjorie and Zachary slot behind the Lithuanians, and they get to stay in the leader's chair. And another team returning to a free dance that they have used previously. Kristina Carrera and Anthony Ponomarenko returning to their free dance from the World Championship season in 2024. And the music Perfume, the story of a murderer. Watch a murder unfold as they perform their 2026 World Championship free dance. Their choreographic step sequence travels the long axis as opposed to most of the teams who take a shorter pattern.
So effective, those twizzles timed with the music.
Kristina Carrera and Anthony Ponomarenko conclude their final free dance of the season. This return to Perfume, the story of a murderer. And the team said that they really do enjoy embracing the darker character, and yet they're such nice, seemingly chill, cool people off the ice, but they really seem to enjoy embracing this character-driven material. And Anthony absolutely embodies the kind of demonic murderer that he needs to showcase in that performance.
You know, I noticed at one point like a piece of maybe material from the red flower on Kristina's dress fell onto the ice. I hope there's no deduction for our costume malfunction with that.
Really good point, Tanya. Eagle-eyed there in spotting that, because should part of the costume fall to the ice, then that would incur a deduction recognition from the panel, from the ref. But
I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, that would be so frustrating if that is the case. It's a gorgeous costume, incidentally. As we see them now working through this element, the replays keep showing us this element, so the director obviously understands that that is an element that will play a big part in this competition, and they have been assigned a level 3 for both. And from a level perspective, it's looking good for Kristina and Anthony as we see the straight line lift, the dorsal, the back strength that Kristina showcases there to make the line look aesthetically pleasing is impressive. Oh, Tanya, you have been eagle-eyed, and it has come in. Costume failure, 1 point deduction.
What a shame.
And will that impact the result as Scott Moyer, he looks a bit demonic there too as he gets on board with the team that he does so much for. Scott and the team there, all of their students just acknowledge firstly what joy they bring to them and what support they feel from Scott, Madison Hubble, Adrian Diaz, and all of the team, both in Ontario and Montreal. Now for Christina and Anthony, they were only 0.08 of a point above Marjorie and Zachary, and then just over a point above Alison and Saul, who lead the field. So could that mandatory 1-point costume deduction see them in a different result? And again, we have to consider again now, there's no chalk and baits here, but the American teams have to accrue enough points to facilitate 3 entries next year for the American ice dancers at Worlds in Finland. They need 11978 to lead. 11967, and it would be different if Eagle-Eye Kwiatkowski hadn't spotted what the referee also noticed with that deduction. And by a 1/10 of a point, Alison and Saul stay in the leader's chair. They recognizing how fortunate they are. And now to the final team in this group. Olivia Smart and Tim Deek will be pleased with the rhythm dance from yesterday, but this free dance, their speciality. It's been a viral sensation online, and this morning in practice, it was just as mesmeric. Sit back and enjoy their interpretation of Dune Part 2.
Opening of this program is just sensational.
Amazing, just changes of edge. A little 1-foot Salchow hop. Just embellishing this brilliance.
Thank you.
here, they're epic.
Oh, this is so much control.
Choreo lift of dreams, just sensational. Well, for the first time in this ice dance free dance event, the O2 Arena has got up on their feet. 20,000 people going nuts. And Olivia just telling Tim to take stock of what they have just done over the past 4 minutes, impacting the public here. And it's not just the public, the illustrious members in front of us, the VIPs, former Olympic champions, everybody standing for Olivia and Tim. Well, maybe not those ones. You need to get on your feet. And it's just a heady combination of the dynamic soundtrack music, these two humans, that costuming, the choreography, but there's something that just clicked so brilliantly with this. It was fantastic last year. Olivia just acknowledging what you can't see on camera, but, oh, we'll wave to them as well, Tanya. Right in the top tier, people are standing as well. And I referenced in the rhythm dance about the X factor that Olivia has, but shout out to Tim Deek as well, because he has improved and progressed so much. The depth of his knees, the commitment to the deeper edge set and more speed, really, really showcasing all the hard work that he has done too.
And I'm actually anxious to see their score, because I think they might have a new personal best with this, because this performance had something very special about it. I've seen it before, and this was probably the best I've seen them perform this free dance.
And they have to feel confident with it, because they know millions of people online on TikTok and Instagram have watched it. Tim disguised his stretch wasn't quite as extreme there in the split as Olivia's.
And the transitions in that lift
and
that they cut away from. But even this, the strength in this lift.
Well, this is their choreographic lift. And some of those positive features, the judges have a list of features that they have to use to assign the grade of execution. Creativity is one of them. There are teams, there are people even off the ice trying to copy that lift. It is so impressive. And how glorious for them to see. And Olivia's mom is here. Grandparents often come, but her mom doesn't watch. Her mom can't watch, so hopefully she'll know when.
One.
Yeah,
she'll have to go back and watch the replay.
For sure. So at the Olympic Games, they had a 122.96. Their best ever was last year when they won the world's small bronze medal with a 123. But it is 125.31. And the judges and tech panel think what the O2 Arena thinks too, that is the best that we have seen, and by some way they have an overall PB as well. So 3 teams have gone above 200 points, but there are 5 teams that are about to take to the ice. And they are not separated by much. And opening this final group from France, Evgenia Loporeva and Geoffrey Brissot. And now to the third of the three American ice dance teams competing in Prague, Emilia Zingas and Vadim Koleshnik. Next to skate, the bronze medalists from a year ago, Great Britain's Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson.
From Canada, Piper Gills and Paul Poirier!
And returning to Wuthering Heights for their free dance for Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier. And then the Olympic champions, Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Guillaume Cizeron. Well, the DJ hits the bass heavy as the 5-minute warm-up gets underway. And whilst throughout the other disciplines, many have commented on how this World Championship feels a little less stressful because of the Olympic Games. I don't know, in the ice dance event, it does seem like there's still an intensity as we would come to expect in this discipline. As we look now at Evgenia Lapareva and Geoffrey Brissot, and they wouldn't have been as readily predicted to be in the top 5 after the rhythm dance, but they showcased such speed in yesterday's performance and 2 on practice earlier today. And upon questioning whether or not they would maintain that top 5 place, certainly in practice this morning, they skated in a manner that made me feel confident that would be achievable for the first of the 2 French teams in this group. And they're in their debut as an ice dance team at the World Championships, Emilia Zingas and Vadim Koleshnik. And at the Olympic Games last month, the 1984 Olympic champion Scott Hamilton tipped them for gold in the next Games. And whilst others have been talking about the result here, many suggesting they could creep up into the podium with a 3rd place. Potentially, Vadim acknowledged, well, after the rhythm dance, we're not far off 2nd. So that gives us a little insight into the ambition that the debutantes have in their first World Championships. As we look now to Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson. And Lila shared some midnight musings on her social media after the disappointment of their free dance at the Games, and gave us a little glimpse into her inner world and the story that she chose for herself on the Olympic experience. And they have acknowledged they processed the disappointment and now come to Worlds ready to embrace the experience here. And again, noteworthy to acknowledge that yet again Lila and Lewis energized the crowd perhaps more than any other when they were in practice earlier today. As we look now to Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier, and their Vincent's performance of the free dance at the Games was one of the highlights of not just the ice skating at the Games, but the whole Games. And the reaction to the conclusion of their free dance in Milan was just a joy to behold. And so then some might say, well, why are you then not using what was so successful on the biggest stage of all? But Piper was explaining to us that they don't want, that was so glorious, they want to park that as a memory. And now returning to Wuthering Heights, as we cast our eyes on Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Guillaume Cizeron, the score that they posted in the rhythm dance yesterday gives them a bigger advantage over 2nd place, the biggest score differentiation between 1st and 2nd ever at the World Ice Dance Championships. So that gives you some indication into the quality that was delivered yesterday. And whilst they have to sit back for Emilia and Vadim, who are preventing them for warming up their element, They do look comfortable to take their first title together at the World Championships. Guillaume already has 5 with former partner Gabriela Papadakis.
There is 1 minute remaining in this warm-up.
There's such an ease about Laurence and Guillaume's skating, and strength and stretch, power. I mean, there's just so many ways to describe what they do, but they do it so well. But that's not to say everyone else in this last warm-up group can't do that either. It's just, it's going to be fun because there's a lot of different ice dance, free dances that are going to be performed this evening.
Yeah, from Romeo and Juliet and Bjork and Scottish Highland music and a whole broad repertoire. But interesting for some of the teams that the score just posted by Olivia Smart and Tim Deek is actually higher than that which the first 2 teams performing have ever had. So do they sense the pressure, or do they stay resolutely focused on moving upward rather than looking behind them? It feels like a long time since the practice that we enjoyed watching earlier today. What has been running through the brain space of these skaters as they have to mentally prepare themselves. And they're just breathing as one. How fascinating for us to delve into seeing. We're almost voyeurs of the mental preparation of Evgenia and Geoffrey. Evgenia just looks so calm. I'm sure inside the cortisol and adrenaline are racing. And they said that their program is something they built up over the past 4 years, developing their connection and technique step by step to try to create a magical moment as they skate to All Is Full of Love and Bachelorette. Masses of ice coverage through the 1 foot.
Pull through, going into their twizzles, adding to the difficulty of the entry.
Great rise and fall in Joffrey's knees within the difficult feature of the spread eagle. Eugenia Loporeva and Geoffrey Brissot, they two utterly delivering. And I'm so consumed with appreciation for the strength of the posture. Eugenia Loporeva particularly, she's just so strong. She has range of movement, but rock solid core makes it so comfortable to watch her. And they make a fantastic team. Gosh. This is where the judging of this is so tricky, because Bjork, how do you interpret Bjork within the context of 9 ice dance elements with all the rules that they require compared to Dune? And so then I have to look at those rules and consider, well, how does this match up? This performance you've just seen, when it comes to the composition, how is this program designed or built in relation to the music? How intentional was the arrangement of the repertoire of types of movement? For me, it's harder to know what that story was compared to Dune, but then that's the music choice. So the judges have to have an education in, well, what was the storyline that we were trying to give here? And then if we look at the first score, it will be governed by things like this, the 1 foot. And comparative to the leaders, they both are given level 3. So it's the same level assigned. And actually, the exact same grade of execution. So the judges, like in some of these elements, they have said they're exactly the same, which is understandable. They're trained together, work together, same coaches. We see the difficult entry, spread eagle, and she upside down in a difficult pose, ticking the box for the features required for the curve lift. And again, a curve lift combo, just like Olivia and Tim. But I'm blown away by doing more, but Evgenia and Geoffrey are incredible, incredible skaters. Doesn't matter what I think. What do the judges think? And now just casting my eyes down. It's the same for the step-on level as well. It's virtually neck and neck from the tech score. So it comes down to skating skills, composition, and presentation. And interesting, 120.7. But the judges have differentiated them. They've said the better skaters are Evgenia and Geoffrey, but essentially the better program they found to be Olivia and Tim. So Smart and Deke stay in the leader's chair.
Spojených států amerických.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing the
And
United
now
States of America,
to Emilia Zingas and Vadim Kolesnik, the leading Americans. Now, it's the first time that Madison Chock and Evan Bates haven't been at Worlds in 12 years. Now, Zingas and Kolesnik proudly fly the flag to be the front-running Americans vying to go onto the podium. Such effective movement to the music. Amazing. Emilio Zingis and Vadim Kolesnik.
They've really made a statement this year, but I think it's because of their incredible work ethic. They talk about how many run-throughs they do every day of each of their programs, and it shows because every movement, and they look so strong all the way through, and they don't even look tired because they're in such great shape from all of their hard work.
And it has really paid off this season. And whilst watching it, Tanya, throughout the course of this ice dance competition, we have access to seeing a little bit of the judges' input, and I've been trying to compare and contrast. But in this performance, I couldn't take my eyes off them. I was compelled to stay engaged with this team. And Amelia and Vadim now can relax. All those run-throughs are over for a while before next season. But for so many years now, Guillaume Cizeron has been the benchmark for quality from a man in ice dance. But Vadim Kolesnik, his leg extension is off the scale, and the strength, his ability to rotate on one foot in the stationary lift is so both strong and flexible. And the combination of these two is obviously really special. And what's surprising, Tanya, is that they were acknowledging that at the start of the season, they didn't get the success they wanted, and they just made a plan, and they have utterly grafted. And an inspiring example of, work hard, get what you work for, as we look back at some of the highlights of their Romeo and Juliet free dance. And again, to make the comparison, I think maybe Evgeny and Joffrey still have some of the strongest basic skating skill, but I think this falls somewhere in between. I probably would still go for the composition of Olivia and Tim, but maybe this falls in between those two other brilliant teams, as the judges now had the hard job of deciding. As we hear Thomas Berner ask them in their debut World Championships, well, where have they been hiding? And Emilia says, well, we've been at the rink, and they've been hard at work, training in Novi, Michigan, with Igor Spielban and Natalia Deller and Adrian Lenda, and obviously Benoit enlisted for choreography. Igor saying, wow. So Igor's been responsible for creating and celebrating so many great teams. He's got potentially one of his best as we await to see how the teams compare. Emilia and Vadim only need 1-2-2 because of the lead they had above the Spaniards in the rhythm dance.
This could be a personal best. I have that feeling.
124.99. Olivia and Tim are still above on the free dance, but overall, Emily and Vadim, obviously, Emilia knowing that obviously they want to advance, and PB, it could be a medal. It needs to be seen. We look now at last year's bronze medalists, Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson. They had a solid rhythm dance to find themselves in this third place position. The Bonnie Banks of Loch Lomond, the music. Oh, some of the best twizzles I think they've done this week. earlier this week, we have seen skaters in the singles and pairs competition come back from the disappointment of performances in Milan they weren't proud of. And Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson have just laid down a completely different free dance to what happened. And after all the tears that Lila has cried, she's not scared to ask for more applause after that performance. And they do divide kind of public opinion, Tanya, because they're not the purest of skating skills. But whilst I am a lover of pure skating skills, you can't deny what this couple brings, and they do ignite audiences in every continent that I see them compete in. They seem to be able to ignite more interaction with audiences, and that's why they're so popular, and that's why they've had so much success. And I also got to acknowledge that when I'm looking at the 1 foot turns, angles were good. They don't have the same level of extension cleanliness or 3 foot length of glide as we've seen from others, but that was laid down. Lila and Lewis brought it. And maybe the disappointment of their Olympic performance fueled this to be their best ever, as we see the brilliant stationary lift which opened their free dance.
You know, even on the practice earlier today, I thought that they looked more relaxed, like just letting it flow rather than trying to force it. Because maybe, you know, the pressure of the Olympics tends to do that to people. So maybe that relaxation just helped propel them into that muscle memory where everything could just come out and be greater than it had been before.
So true, and they were contenders for an Olympic medal because, of course, you know, they were bronze medalists at the Grand Prix final against all the best teams in the world. But Lila just saying that's the skate they've dreamed of all season, and talk about saving the best for last. Bam. And look at the fingertip extension. Shout out to Randy Strong, one of their choreographers, has added those fine detail touches. Oh my goodness, I've just looked back. Technical score has gone from really amazing. They just, oh my gosh, he must have kept that opening lift above his head for too long. We have just seen a 2-point deduction go in the system for an illegal element, and the stationary lift that opened the program has now been assigned a level 1. They were on target to achieve a personal best. But the technical panel have deemed that that skate is actually not going to achieve anywhere near the personal best for Lila and Lewis. They don't yet know what we can see on our screens. And whilst the presentation and composition marks have been awarded by the judges as the highest they've seen, this is going to be very confusing to the team and very frustrating to have that assigned to them. There'll be a great review of how long Lila was overhead. I assume, I need to check my rules, but I assume that the reason why the illegal movement has gone in for the opening element. The judges are still now inputting their scores. The technical panel have cast their aspersion on the elements and the level calls. But there's a 2-point deduction, and now the problem that we've got here is we've got 20,000 people that fell in love with what they've just seen. And they, I don't think, are going to like what they're about to hear in terms of numbers. No, I don't want, Patrice Lauzon looks confused. Roman
looks on their faces like, what happened?
123.89. And the O2 Arena in Prague is booing and whistling, which is so sad because it should be celebration for Emilia and Vadim, who are medalists in their first World Championship, but it comes under a little bit of a question mark. No doubt they were wonderful. But now we move on, and let's change the energy in the arena, because the last time we saw Piper and Paul, we were all just crying with joy. They return now to the Wuthering Heights. What will happen for Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier? Struggling a little bit with the dance spin. Canada's Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier, watched on by Yunus Rasgalayev and Carol Lane. And Scott Moyer's just in front of us. He stood up to applaud. He, the most decorated Canadian Olympic ice dancer, thought it was worthy of a standing ovation.
From Canada, Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier!
And the last time that this free dance was performed by Piper and Paul, they actually won the free dance portion of the competition when they used it at the 2024 World Championships. And they come here though, we've seen and supported Piper and Paul so many seasons and so often been frustrated because, as Emily and Vadim applaud them, because they maybe weren't rewarded as much as many thought. But the whole energy around Piper and Paul at this World Championships is different because they've had the experience at the Games. It was dreamlike for them. That the reason they have chosen to do the Wuthering Heights instead. I thought, Tanya, that it was it was understandably less polished and prepared, but it was incredibly polished and prepared given that they've only been practicing it for a month.
I was wondering how that was going to turn out this evening, just because when you have a program that you work on all season long and then all of a sudden you go do an old one, and I know those memories come back from the old one, but you just don't have those extra run-throughs that polish. But I thought they handled it well.
Oh, totally. And as we see this glorious straight line lift, Piper said that she actually wanted to be able to stay present in the moment because they had to be, because they were still not totally comfortable with the material because it's been a while since they obviously had the run-throughs. I don't know if Piper here had a little check in the rotation there on the twizzles. Let's look at the levels that are being input. Interestingly, 4 of the 9 elements are being reviewed. And so technical panel are hard at work again, and we've obviously seen how technical elements can impact results with what happened with Lila and Lewis, and no such oddities coming up for Piper and Paul, and they only need 122.76 to stay in second place, and if that is the case, that would be their 3rd consecutive silver medal, dependent on what the leaders do. But well done to that pair, Carol Lane and Yuris Raskalaev, who have stood and now sat beside them for every step of their long and celebrated career together. Olivia and Tim still lead the free dance, but Emilia and Vadim lead overall. So 125.07, so that confirmation that Olivia and Tim actually will have at least a second place best free dance, but it's enough for the wonderful Piper and Paul. P squared, as they're affectionately named. Well, accept that and take it, and they look happy, but I don't think anything would have taken the smile off their faces after the Games just a few weeks ago. And now to the Olympic champions, Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Guillaume Cizeron. It is their first World Championship together. They lead by a mile above the others after the rhythm dance. It is an incredible piece of work. That said, it hasn't been free from mistakes this season as they still get accustomed to performing together under pressure. The music from the soundtrack, The Whale. More success on the twizzles than at the Games.
transition on this curve lift to the other direction is just mind-blowing. It takes incredible strength.
They were triumphant at the Olympic Winter Games last month. But that free dance from Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Guillaume Césaron surpassed that. And it is hard to fully articulate the utter brilliance of the skating that has just been showcased. And it may not be as quite evident through a screen, but here in this arena, the mastery of blade and body that Laurence and Guillaume possess is truly in a different league. And if other teams achieve 9s out of 10 in the component scores, then I don't think there's space for Laurence and Guillaume, because they are so sizably better in the fundamental skill of ice skating.
You know, it was interesting earlier in the program, all they did was just, well, I say all they did, but they were just doing a leg extension with a deep edge, and the crowd started to erupt into applause, which that's a knowledgeable crowd noticing the quality of what they do and how they do it.
That's so true, and there are a few that could take an extended, elongated, prolonged edge and ignite a reaction like that from an audience. And the quality, the audience here have been engaged and excited by so many others with the music choices. This music is obviously not of the same dynamic, but their movement was just utterly commanding. And we've seen now Kaori Sakamoto receive maximum 10s from the judges. We saw Yuma Kageyama earlier today delivering quality in the component scores worthy of 10s. Those are the best ice skaters that have competed at the World Championship 2026. And you know, I could read the rules, but every one of the abundance of rules that are in the rule book, they satiate with a quality showcase now.
I mean, and the other thing is they've only been together a year. I mean, they're just going to keep getting better and better together. And I have a feeling that they might beat their personal best with this program, because they had some little
there were mistakes
that had gone on at other competitions when they received the last personal best or season best.
And for me, Tanya, totally, it's going to be a personal best. I'm thinking about world records. what's going to happen moving forward, but the Olympic Winter Games are in their country in 4 years' time. Will we be treated to seeing them as the other medalists are caught on camera? Their PB is 1:35, the world record 1:38.41. They have a 1:38.07. It's not a world record, but it is perilously close. And I need to check, Tanya, because I'm pretty sure that that is the first time that an ice dance team has won the World Championships in their debut appearance. And deservedly so, as Marie-France and Roman, Laurence and Guillaume join hands to celebrate a gold at the World Championships to add to the gold from the Olympic Winter Games. And their gold here confirms that each of the 4 titles at this year's World Championships comes from a different skating nation. We had German gold in the pairs, Japanese gold in the women's, American gold for Ilya Malinin in the men's, and now France tops the podium at the World Championships 2026. And there, confirmation, little commiserations for Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson with the oddity of the illegal movement they had. So we see Diana and Gleb, they were resplendent earlier, and they are just in 10th place. Such is the strength of this competition. And there, I think it's worthy of another shout out to Yulia Turkia and Matthias Verslus, who were forced to injure due to the back injury that Matthias has been dealing all year. As we hear now
You've
from
done
the
what so many
champions,
people would say
Laurence
is
and Guillaume.
impossible, skating together for less than a year, Olympic champions, and now world champions. How does that feel?
Oh my God, we lived such a moment out there, and I hope we were able to make it, live that moment with you guys. I'm not able to speak. I'm out of breath, and I'm just extremely happy.
Becoming world champion, you lose your ability to speak. That tends to happen. But I want to ask you, Guillaume, this moment that you all created out there, the audience behind you, this program felt like you topped even what you were able to accomplish at the Olympics. How did it feel?
It felt amazing. It was a suspended moment with all of you, and I don't know, it's such a special feeling to feel all of your eyes and your energy on what we created, so thank you so much.
One final question, and I'm going to be cheeky. Can you tell us what happens next? What can we expect from you two next?
The question everybody wants to know the answer to.
A nice vacation.
I would say it is very well deserved. Any words to the crowd here in Prague? The arena's so loud, so much love for you. What do you want to say to O2 Arena, to Prague, to your fans?
Thank you so much. We wouldn't be here without you, and we hope you enjoy the entire competition, and we can't wait to see you again.
All right, everybody, we need to get incredibly loud for your new world champions, Laurence Garnier-Vaudry and Guillaume Cizeron.
Well, Ashley Wagner tried hard to discover what was coming next from Laurence and Guillaume, but all we are told is it will be a vacation, and it is a well-deserved one. And shortly we will see the victory ceremony for Laurence Guillaume, Piper and Paul, and Emilia and Vadim at the conclusion of a sensational World Championships. Standout performance for you, Tanya, from the week? Any that you were compelled to remember in time to come, or too hard to pick from so many?
I have to pick only one?
No, you can pick a few.
Well, oh boy. I would probably say Kiori Sakamoto. I think just the circumstances, knowing coming in that she has announced that she was going to retire.
I'm with you there, but Casting our eyes now onto the replay of the medalists, Emilia Zingis and Vadim Koleshnik. Many rumored and guessed that they would be capable, and they have done another incredible feat. And what is probably more amazing about what they have achieved is this is their first World Championship and their first appearance at a World Championship in ice dance. Of course, Laurence and Guillaume winning in their debut together, but they have a lot of experience in the World Ice Dance competition. These two have made history in a medal in their first ever World Ice Dance competition. As you see, Piper and Paul reliving the Wuthering Heights. And now the amazing Canadians take home their third consecutive silver medal at the World Championships. 5 medals now in total, 2 bronze, 3 silver for Piper and Paul. And I think they're probably the most appreciated and loved for all the years that they have given us of all the teams that have competed. And whilst Laurence and Guillaume are a new pairing, nobody can dispute the qualities they possess. Skating skills, masterclass. Any aspiring skater will be learning from trying to mimic the body movement and blade control that Laurence and Guillaume showcase. And indeed, if you're lucky enough to see it on a screen, I urge you to try to see it in a venue because it is even more mesmeric and impressive.
So Mark, what was your standout performance since you put me on the spot?
That was cruel, wasn't I? I should have done that. Well, I'm going to come back to you, Tanya, and totally corroborate your choice, because I too, whilst I'm blown away by the utter brilliance of Laurence and Guillaume, the sentimentality and the human story of Kaori Sakamoto at this World Championships made yesterday evening's women's free skate just so moving, and that will be a night that I don't think I will ever forget.
I'm amazed at how long everyone in the audience stayed during the award ceremony and after the award ceremony, which went on for quite some time.
Nobody wanted to leave, and nobody wanted Kaori Sakamoto to get off the ice. She's now a 4-time world champion, and she, unlike Laurence and Guillaume, has been vocal about not competing again, and she has subsequently said she'll be performing in ice shows, and she also said that while she doesn't have an Olympic gold medal, her coach Nakano said maybe she will coach an Olympic gold medalist of the future. So she may be gone from competition, but not gone from the ice skating world. As we see now, the victory ceremony moving out to award the 3 medalists in the final event of the 2026 World Figure Skating Championships.
ISU mistrovství světa v krasobruslení 2026, medailový ceremoniál tance na ledě.
ISU Figure Skating World Championships 2026, victory ceremony, ice dance.
Na 3. místě se umístili a bronzovou medaili získávají
Third and winner of the bronze medal from the United States of America, Emilia Zingis and Vadim Koleshnik.
Emilia Zingis and Vadim Koleshnik take the baton passed on to them from the 3-time world champions Madison Chalk and Evan Bates, and they keep Americans on the podium at the Ice Dance World Championships. And now it begs the question, what will happen for this team over the course of the next Olympic cycle? They already considering the material for next year, already I'm sure considering the plans to showcase even further progression. But next season they will come into the competitive arena with a whole different level of expectation. No longer will they be surprise contenders showcasing brilliance. They will be expected favorites in any event that they move on to. And they, perhaps like Leah Pereira and Trent Michaud in the pairs event, the happiest of bronze medalists. As Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier move up to second after the bronze at the Games. A little like Yuma Kageyama insofar as it's often a runner-up, but despite never being title holders, I think they have amassed as many fans as any world champion. And I haven't had the bravery to ask what's coming next, but it remains to be seen. Perhaps it is the last time that we'll see Piper and Paul. So should that be the case, soak it up. Wonderful ambassadors for the sport who have given so much for so many seasons.
First and world champions for 2026 from France, Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Guillaume Cizon.
But here are the new world ice dance champions, Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Guillaume Cizon. It won't come as a surprise to many, having followed the ice dance competition over the last year. That said, they so new in their partnership together, all the experience that they have amassed with former partners doesn't wholly contend coming to terms with their own experiences as competitors. Which side did they go to? They're going to Piper and Paul. Remember that Laurence was formerly on the same team as Piper and Paul when she competed for Canada. Knows them so well. And it's significant to also acknowledge that this will be the first world title for Laurence Fournier-Baudry. Guillaume has 5 already. He now akin to Alyona Savchenko from Germany in the pairs, and having won the world title with different partners.
The president of the International Skating Union and member of the International Olympic Committee Executive Board, Mr. Jae-Yo Kim. He will award the medals.
And Mr. Jae-Yo Kim, ISU president for the 4th and final time this week, awards medals as Vadim sorts the hair out of Emilia. What a good partner.
A great partner.
And to add to their collection, another silver for Piper and Paul. And the gold around the neck for the first time at the World Championships for Laurence, and the 6th time for Guillaume Cizon. Mr. Evgen Milchinski, the president of the organizing committee, and we get to see him at every victory ceremony, but behind him are a village of volunteers and support members who have made this week such a success. As Edo the Hedgehog, the mascot for the event, is given. Emilia looks more than satisfied with that cuddly toy. At least the cuddly toy can go home in the suitcase, unlike the flowers, so there is some...
That is true. The flowers never made it.
Maybe we should go and buy one from the merch store, Tanya, to take home. Pretend that we were world medalists.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you can, please stand for the national anthem of the winner.
Well, in our commentary area, we stand beside Natalie Peshala, former French ice dancer who's been on the podium at the World Championships. The French will be elated to see their flag on top. So as the photos are taken for the memory book of life for the best ice dancers, we prepare to say goodbye. However, it's important to acknowledge that there is still the Gala of Champions to look forward to. The gala will start at 2:30 local time tomorrow. Important to note though that clocks change in Prague to Central European Summer Time, so make sure you do not miss, because it will be opportunity for us to see all of the medalists yet again performing for the last time this season, and in a much more relaxed environment than the pressure of competition, as Vadim Kolesnik ensures that the selfie is taken of the medalists. Well, we are so grateful to not just the International Skating Union and the Czech Figure Skating Organization, to the fans, but particularly to the respective governing bodies, the coaches, the choreographers, and most importantly, the skaters who have given us such brilliance. I'm Mark Hermetti. I've been joined by Tonia Kwiatkowski, and from us both, we thank you all for joining us. And just one final reminder, it's not quite over yet. The Gala of Champions tomorrow at 2:30. But for now, thank you and good night.
counting, and it is amazing. From Wednesday, we had more than 111,000 spectators